Hello, YouTube. Today, or rather, should I say tonight, since it is currently 9 p.m., I will be weathering some of these little mine hoppers for the 009 loop that I have recently completed. And to do that, we will be using the selection of powders you see in the background from Monroe Models. Now, I am not sponsored by them, but I do find that for a powder, their selections of assorted powders and even the large black powder set that I have work quite well. Now, as for a start off, you're going to want to grab one, and these are not the new Pico ones, but rather the old mini trains or whatever they are ones. This one unfortunately has lost the uh, bottom part of the frame on it. We're going to start with this one, and we're going to just pull the two off, set this to the side, get out the stuff that's going to make the powder stick, not satin finish. Yes, I know it's a finish, but at the same time, it works quite well to get the powders to stick to each other. Now you want to do this in a well-ventilated area, so I have cracked open my window, and I'm ready to get high off the paint fumes. I'm going to do this off camera so that I don't get any fumes on the camera, but you will see what it looks like in just a second. I would also recommend using a pair of gloves or tweezers even to get this done. I will probably be doing a combination of both once I get the powders started. But for now, I will just be using a set of tweezers I have laying around that I paint with. Also, if your models are old or have been collecting dust for a while, it may be a worthwhile idea to dust them off and clean them off before you do anything with them to make sure that no dust particles or hairs are stuck to your models while you're doing this. Because that would not be fun at all. And now you can get a better idea of how this finish is going to look when we're done. And we are going to reattach this to the wagon now, because we want to weather this all in one go. So now we have all that done. We're going to remove the wheels, because we don't want to get those dirty yet. We'll weather those separately. So now we have the frame, and now we're just going to do the same thing we did for the tipple itself for the whole thing. And now that this is sprayed, we will give it about a minute to dry, and we will get started on doing the weathering. And I may add a load to this on the stream. I may not, I don't know yet. But on the off chances that I do, it will probably only be a ballast load because that is all I have for loads right now. Unless I feel like crushing up some more coal dust, which would be an interesting thing to do on the stream. We might do that, we might not. And if we finish these 6 hoppers too quickly, I have some extra things that we can work on, such as these wonderful little 3D printed slate hoppers that I've already finished the loads for, because we're going to finish the loads before we finish the wagons. And if you happen to hear any thunder off in the distance, there is a slight possibility that it is supposed to storm tonight, so don't be too terribly wondered or worried, and go with it. Alright, we're gonna... Oops, sorry, my big chunky man arms are in the way. We are going to start off with the black soot from Monroe Models, and we are going to bring everything a little bit closer because I underestimated the amount of viewing distance my phone camera would have for some odd reason. Now we can start with the super small brush, or we can go right ahead and start up with the much larger and broader brushes that we have. I'm going to go and get another small one because I forgot that one is for my acrylics, not weathering. Well, it looks like we're out of luck on that one, so we are going to have to use that super small one. I'll just make sure I wash it really good before it gets used again. Alright, so since we have started with this, we're going to work from top down, and the goal for this is to kind of just make it look like it has been used and abused for a long time. And if needed, or if I feel like it, I'll heat up a soldering iron and we'll make it look like these things have some dents and dings in them. Make it really interesting. So we just dip the brush into the pigments, and you want to just highlight all the rivets and just slowly work your way down. Make sure you get it all into those fine little details. It'll be about the same process for this whole model. like I said, it'll be about the same process for this whole little model, so it's okay if you go overboard, unless you have something specific in mind. I really don't. I just want these things to look like they've been well used on either some heritage railway or something that still works as a mine. Now you may be able to see that the pigments don't stick too well. There's a clean side, and here's what we just did. So I'm going to go ahead and spray this side, and we'll get right back to work on it. Now you don't want to do too much with it, because you want to be able to get the pigment in there and drag it right along the top. And try and get the pigment to stick, sometimes in clumps, to really just sell that used look. Now you can see just how darkened and dull this lad is. And don't you worry, we're not going to forget about the insides of this model. I'm going to weather it just in case I don't wind up putting a load in these guys. Because we can't have something clean on the inside and dirty on the outside. It would not suit his grace. Now that we have completed the black on this side, we're going to cap it off with a little bit more satin. And don't you worry, because we're going to be doing a whole bunch of other colors on the rest of these. Some of them much worse than others, and I may even order a couple more of these guys. And you can see just how that used to be this. Clean on this side, nice and grungy on this side. And now we'll just start working away at the ends. The ends have a lot more joints than the sides do, so they're probably going to wind up being a lot dirtier as well. Also, since they're not going at a downward angle either. I have some other cars that are flat-sided, and they're quite nice. But I like the look of the V-skips, if that's what these are, a little bit more. And you can already see how much this is changing the looks of this nice model. Now I know that you are possibly waiting for the next installment of Dirty Loco Podcast, and you may be happy to know, but as the time of this live stream, that the next group of people have been selected, And I am trying to work out a date in which we are all going to be available to record on. And we have finished this side. I'm going to tap it a little bit to get all the excess we don't want to stay permanently on off. And we're going to go ahead and cap it with some more finish. And you can see just how much this is changing the model from clean to dirty. Now this one might get a couple rust accents thrown onto it just because I've already made it so dirty, but if we do that, I will definitely have fun with this. Which I don't want to make this live stream too long. I don't want to make it anything much longer than an hour and a half. But we'll see what we do. Now we're gonna go ahead and start on the other long side and just continuing the process. So you guys get to sit back and I'll be quiet since this is all just stuff we've repeated already. You can listen to the ambience of the fish tanks in the background and storms outside. And now we're just going to do the insides. And now you can get an idea of how the weathering of these little wagons is going to look. Clean and dirty. Now you might recall that I said earlier that we would also be weathering the axles, and that is what we're going to do now. Let's set that back there. Get out our tweezers, and we're going to spray these wheels and weather them with rust. I think we're going to use this darker rust from Monroe in their A set pack. If I can get it with one hand, that would be nice. There we go. And now that we've finished faffing around with that, we can get these axles, which have now been sprayed, weathered. And we're just going to use the same brush. And we're just going to paint on pretty much all the powder. Now it may not make a much different look, but if you pay attention, it's a lot nicer than that. I'd say that the faded rust look is more acceptable. Now to get the appropriate look, we're going to just spray it again and repeat the process until happy. Now, I'm currently using the dark rust or the old rust instead of the new fresh rust. And I'm only going to do that pattern, or that sequence of what I showed you 2 times per side, because the wagon that these axles and wheels go to isn't going to be the most battered thing on the line. And if we have time after finishing these and I don't feel like doing slate wagons, I might break out the engine and do a tad bit of weathering and numbering on it. So this is one axle done. And now we just grab the wagon and stick it back in. And you can possibly see the difference that makes. Not much of a difference, but it's nice, subtle. And now we'll just repeat that for the second one. No, not every axle is going to be the same, so don't be afraid to mix things up and have one axle done slightly heavier on the other, because these things do get replaced. I should know since I work for heritage companies. And now we'll just stick this back into the model. And just like that, we have one completed model. Now you can get a sense of what a completed model will look like. Now we will get started on the second one, which has its couplings because it still has its frame. This time I won't disassemble the whole thing, because I'm going to be honest, it's a bit stupid to do in the first place. And for same purposes, we're going to remove the axles from the frame. And we're going to get our tweezers and spray this. And we're going to start from inside for this one. So it's going to be right back to the weathering powder. We're just going to dabble it around the inside of the frame here. Well, inside the tipper. Now this one's going to be a tad bit cleaner model. But we're going to do some different tactics with this one. You can see here. We're going to try and get some water streaking with this one. I don't know why, but I just feel like doing that with this one. This is also kind of just an excuse for me to test out new ideas that I've had. I just want to get all the powder and streaking in there. Now, it may absolutely come out looking like shit, but it's called weathering for a reason. It's never meant to look perfect. Now, don't forget about your edges. They may not be the most integral and important part of the model, but they are still going to get very dirty, even in the real world. These things often get overlooked because, oh, nobody's gonna look at it. You may be right, nobody might look at it, but if they do, it's gonna be a little bit weird that, if we paid attention to the small details. Because let me tell you, those small details are what give you awards. And we're gonna let this dry, and while it dries, we might as well make ourselves useful and get a start on these axles. And it's gonna be the same process it was before. Getting all that fresh and old rust on it. And just getting rid of the excess, which I'm doing off camera. Do not make a mess on the camera. There's one done, and on to the next. And I've accidentally got a little bit of rust pigment in here. and it's deciding it wants to stay. So we're just going to work with it. To hell with it. If that's what the model wanted, that's what we'll do. Not too much, but just hitting those little ridges and stuff in there. Just enough. And it'll barely even show up on the end result. Now your fingers are gonna look like absolute crap when you're doing this if you don't wear gloves. So that's probably what I'm gonna go and do while we wait for that to dry. So pardon the lack of talking for a minute or so, but enjoy the serenity of the water around us. And we are back. We have our gloves. Now, for me, I like to put a hair tie over the end of the gloves so that nothing gets into the gloves and so that I don't have to worry about. No, I don't know. But for me, it is a personal thing I do. Not a clue why, but we just do it. Now I can already start to feel the effects of the constant paint fumes in my room, and my eyes are definitely dry as hell. But we power on with our weathering crusade. And we keep doing this because content. Why? I haven't the slightest of an idea, but in the name of Blarg, we do it! And if you don't get the reference, oh well. We do it. Now we're gonna grab our little wagon here, which we've now weathered the insides of, and we are going to get our black powder out again and just repeat the process of the first one. But noticing that the tweezers do not do too well in holding it, I am going to give up on them. As I cannot be damned to do anything. That is too difficult. Now I'm tempted to make this one look like absolute hell on the outside, but I don't feel like it, so I'll be generous with this one and only do about a couple passes here and there of the powder. And while each side dries, I will do the next side. Now I'm going to have wonderful time sleeping tonight in all this wonderful black fume, or at least paint fume. Well, you can already tell it's having its effect on me if I'm calling it black fume. I'm getting black lung and paint fume mixed up. Wonderful day for me. Can't you tell? And I'm going to open up our window a little bit more so that we can get that nice rain sound pouring in our window. Now we just wait for this little guy to dry. And we'll pop the axles in and have two done. The only downside to having the gloves is it makes everything else in your work environment an absolute nightmare to deal with, because you are dealing with gloves. So, unless you like dealing with messes every time you try to move your hands, don't wear gloves. But if you have, or if you pretend to have people that care about you, like I do, and like to be clean for said people, wear the gloves. Because they only like you when you're clean, don't they? Now look at the mess that I would have become if I didn't have gloves. Such a shame and a mess. It would never suit his grace. Now I think for this next one, this is gonna be one that's gonna be absolutely battered and boring. So we're gonna switch on the soldering iron on. We'll batter the top just the slightest bit. We'll do this before we paint it, obviously, but just some slight damage done on this little guy. And that should be good enough. Now we'll just switch off the iron. We'll break out our file. Handy little things these are. We'll file back what we don't want. I'd say this is good enough, but there is no such thing as good enough. You can always be better, be stronger, more violent. But no, we will spray this after we remove, you guessed it, the axles. And apparently the tipper as well, because you guessed it, gloves. Grab our tweezers here and spray the little lad. And we'll make sure that we sniff this as much as humanly possible. Why? I haven't you the slightest of an idea. And realizing that it has almost been an hour, and I've only started on the third one now, I don't know how much more of this I will wind up doing. Because quite frankly, as fun as this is for you to listen to while working on your own stuff, it is not as fun as recording it for me. But we'll see how long I take it. I'll probably finish this one, maybe the fourth one, but I don't know. We'll just have to stick around and find out, why don't we? Won't we? You can always tell, almost as soon as I start disliking recording, because I get very, very depressed. You can always tell. I don't know why I get so depressed. But we continue with a happy face anyway. Because you people deserve a happy face. Because I don't know what you all deal with. So even though I may not be the happiest of faces, I will still try and keep it bright for you. Now this one's going to be a little bit different. Why, you might ask? Because it's going to get rusty. But while we wait for it to dry, once again, we will start the other sides. But now we will get our rust. Just highlight the rivets and whatnot in the rust pigment. And you even get the axle boxes in the frame with this one. Now we just do the same thing for the rest of it. Now these ends will get very rusty. As they have a lot of moving parts. And I have almost forgotten to do the rest on the frames. Silly me. There we go. Let's see if we finally have a viewer. Hello, viewer. I'm just waiting for these two sides to dry real quick. That shouldn't take too long. Ooh, 2 viewers, wow. That's a new record for tonight, I think. 3. It's like counting with Elmo. Hello to you, 3 people that have stumbled across this, most likely. Probably hoping for something more entertaining. I don't blame you. Well, not the most entertaining after all. But now that those sides have dried, we'll get back on to weathering the rest of this. Just remember, any accident you make while weathering, you can always hide with more weathering. It's like hiding your feelings from people. You just keep going at it. I'm surprised we still have 3 viewers. You people must be very determined. And I have no idea what you were so determined for. Hope you're enjoying yourselves, though. And we're gonna grab our large brush and apparently pop off the top. For whatever reason, it decided it wanted to go and travel to outer space. Now there's a bit too much pigment on this side, so what are we gonna do? Hide it with more black. Just dull everything down. And now we'll get started on the inside. There go the viewers. Oh well. I hope they enjoyed themselves while they were here at least. Now remember those 2 little dots we put inside of there, that is going to act like rock dents. And we're going to put a little bit of rust there to make it look a little bit more realistic. Just grab a little bit, highlight each one, and just drag it down a little bit. This might be a bit easier. Have something like a toothpick. I don't have a toothpick on me right now, nor the patience. Well, we were back at 2 viewers, and I see we're back to 1 now. Still not a problem, though. Now you see all these little crevices are where rust would naturally form. And all I am doing is merely highlighting that fact. And if we're satisfied with how it is, spray it and cap it. And move on. And I almost forgot to do the top. And we'll just set it out to dry. And we'll get started on the axles. And now we just wait for that to dry. And I think this is gonna be it for tonight. I may do another stream later down the road, but for tonight I think this is gonna be it. Once I put the wheels back on this wagon, I'll definitely show you what it looks like. But I think it's gonna be the end for tonight. But I do thank everyone that has viewed this so far tonight, and that is viewing it after it happens. Hamburger. Nice. We may do another stream, either later tonight or tomorrow night, maybe, of gaming while high. That is provided I feel up to it. But now we are going to insert the axles back into the axle boxes. Give it a test to make sure that it still rolls. And if it does, then hallelujah, you've done something correct. And here we have the 3 weathered models right there, and the unweathered ones, which we will get to at a later date. There you can get a better angle of them. Clean, dirty, and the mess that made those happen. Now I want to thank everybody for watching this, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.